I think we're just about at the tail end of doing these daily Madame Web videos because the little weblets, well, probably outside of the week 2 update, not going to be too much more juice to squeeze from this situation. But while we're here, we might as well talk about how a movie that was intended to be for women, directed by women, starred in by women, wasn't intended to by women. Big shock on that one, right? When has that ever worked? You take a look at the Marvels from a couple of months ago, and hey girls, that's supposed to be your superhero film. Why is it that 65% of the audience was male? Because, oh, I don't know, superheroes is kind of the domain of men. When it's done right, guess what? Men and women are going to enjoy that. But when you try to wedge in identity politics, spoilers, it doesn't work. It's never worked. It's never going to work because people like the genre, because when it's at its best, there's very few others that can elicit the same type of reactions. You have your established characters in fantastical situations, the most spectacular encapsulation of human determination that you can get on this screen, and they're driving home core values. But because all of these idiotic writers and directors think that they can take a well-established formula and do it better, well, there's a reason that the term superhero fatigue has really caught on. But inside Sony's Madame Web collapse. Forget about a new franchise. Yeah, we talked about that recently as well, that the Spooder universe just isn't gonna happen at all because Madame Web was a bigger bomb than they even anticipated. The trailer buzz was worrisome. Advanced ticket sales, anemic, and then also reducing in real time. That's crazy as well. And then last week, the critic reviews for Madame Web were posted and nobody was webbing anywhere. Spin-off received the lowest average rating, Rotten Tomato score of any major superhero film in nearly a decade. Wednesday night, you could actually watch advanced purchase sales declining in real time as buyers were refunding their tickets. Yo, Marvel's a major theatrical chain executive. It really says something when you'd rather have Shazam 2 numbers. Yeah, because I don't remember hearing anything about them returning their tickets in real time. That's kind of crazy. Yeah, a lot of the stuff, it's just retreading old ground, and I need not encumber you guys with any of that. Go back and watch the old videos. I've got it all. I think there's a Madame Web playlist, and if not, there will be by the time that you see this video. I'm pretty sure I've made one, but Madame Web, yes, directed and co-written by, I don't know why that's spurred out, SJ Clarkson. But according to Chris Stuckman, all the creatives behind this, they were stifled by overarching studio, and even if you look into what the creatives had to say about this was the story that they actually wanted to tell. Oh well, he's getting summarily roasted. And starring Dakota Johnson as a New York paramedic who develops psychic powers after smashing her head on a windshield while drowning and then getting saved by Uncle Ben. Seemingly took a wise approach. When there are capes and cowls on every metropolis corner, doesn't make sense to avoid the usual tropes and make a more grounded feeling suspense thriller. Yeah, it worked out really well for Echo. Does anybody remember that? That also came out, a little bit better than a month ago? Holy shit. Anyways, except it didn't work. I don't know if women are enough to carry the box office here, but that's where, that's who you guys were trying to entice into the theaters. That was your core market. It was supposed to be a spooder story for women, by women, with a bunch of spooder girls. But why didn't they turn out? Okay, one veteran studio outside of Sony says, indeed, males make up 65 to 70% of the superhero audience in North America. This is the case with Madame Web, with a percentage of female viewers was still only 46%. All your marketing, all that $100 million plus, because the rumor around Hollywood in regards to this film right here is that they spent more on the marketing than they did on the budget. But they also might have been fudging the numbers on the budget because they're going to go out there and report $80 million for the budget. But you're hearing it's somewhere in between $110, $120 million for that one. So if it continues to track that was the case, were they also hiding how much they spent on the marketing that was so pointed towards women who ultimately didn't turn out for the film? And while we're here and talk about the marketing, well, let's just take a look at what $100 million plus can buy you and really ask yourself the question, okay? If you have $100 million to make a hit movie, would you buy any of this stuff? Does any of this stuff entice you into the theaters? And shout out to Novamania17 for compiling this list, because it's a not extensive list of everything that they were doing. It also includes a couple of clips that we played before in the Dakota Johnson couldn't care less about this project stuff. But what Sony was trying to buy in order to get eyes on this product, it's baffling. But it's not too dissimilar to what, you know, Disney will do, what Warner Brothers will do for their superhero films. I just find this funny that it's Madam Web, that it's the Websters that are out there bringing Hollywood bloat and Hollywood's reckless spending habits to account. Hey man, as long as we're having this conversation, I'm down with it. So yes, of course, it all starts off with November 15th, 2023, with the iconic trailer dropping with the line that everybody's memed into perpetuity. Go ahead and say it with me. He was in the Amazon with my mom when she was researching spiders right before she died. Why is that a meme? I don't understand why it's a meme, which isn't even delivered like that in the movie. No, they cut off when they're in the, once the madam herself kidnaps the three not spider girls. It takes them to the forest, and then they have a pseudo flashback moment and talking about the villain Ezekiel Sims, who, ooh, that actually might be another video that we're going to be doing, okay, because there's rumors that he could be going nuclear, breaking an NDA, talking about how terrible this film is, because everything that he recorded, that's the bad ADR, and everybody else is pointing out, going, ooh, wow, this is a technical disaster that we have on our hands, and everything that he was doing, it was dubbed over the top of. So I think maybe he's finding legal ways where he can go out and talk about how this thing was a goddamn train wreck. Anyways, yeah, the Dakota Johnson was probably trying to deliver this line, and I'm sure it was delivered like that in the movie. It's just after the backlash and everybody laughing at it when the trailer came out in November, decided to cut it off after, yeah, he was in the Amazon with my mom when she was researching spiders, and then cut it off. The next week, after the trailer released, yes, Dakota Johnson leaves her talent agency for a new one, leaves at WME for CAA, and that also leads to the speculation that she thought that she was going to be a part of a Marvel Studios production. That's what she was tagging in Instagram, her and Sydney Sweeney. And then when it came out that, oh no, Sony's putting this out, and this is going to have absolutely nothing to do with the MCU, time to get rid of those people that sold me a false bill of goods. Yes, the first posters from Madam Web released, and the PNG of Dakota Johnson. Yeah, just her blank expression, which has also been memed. It's in every single one of the official promotions. It's like, you had her on set, you paid her handsomely for this role, and you could only get her to stare vaguely into the camera once for all your marketing. But there were other, and oh my god, we talked about this, because there's your costume reveal on a Japanese ocean spray bottle, and outside of the 10 seconds at the end of the film, like, she's not even in the costume. But hey, look, they at least have a different expression on her face. That's definitely not photoshopped at all. But yes, these 4 ridiculous ass promotional gifts for the movie, where it's like, you want to release, this is where some of that $100 million went for just this terrible digital marketing. Okay, this should be presented with that awful PNG over the top of it, where it says graphic design is my passion. Like, what are we doing here? Okay, you got these weird expressions of these chicks that are never really, at least in the context of the film, in their costume, but you have them zoom in, zoom out, zoom in, zoom out, zoom in, zoom out, and, well, okay, like, I don't want to comment too much on the costumes, because maybe potentially, you know, at least the masks are somewhat real and not CG, but we don't even know if they look good or not, because they're not really even in them. And then, yeah, Dakota Johnson having this very strange advertisement. I don't think we played this one before, but it does bear playing for you guys.
So, while my character in the movie may be able to see the future, I also can. And I know what the future brings. I know that when you see Madam Web, you're gonna love it.
Why does she sound like a 900 operator? It's very strange delivery.
In fact, I think you're gonna see it twice.
I don't know, is that a threat to the audience? I don't know. I can't see the future, but I know you're gonna see the movie. You're gonna see it twice. It's kind of funny, and given the fact that Dakota Johnson has come out and said, yeah, I haven't seen Madam Web, and chances are I'm not going to see it, maybe at some later date. And yeah, okay, even as somebody who, at a lesser extent, makes content as well, puts videos out on the internet, I hate watching myself back, and even when I'm editing, I hate the sound of my own voice, so I just try to, you know, just move ahead as quickly as possible. And I know that a lot of actors like that are out there, but to be so strong in your assertion that, no, I'm not seeing it, no, I'm never going to see it, and it's like, interesting, right? And then, okay, cool, so another bit of money dropped on this was, well, it's trying to replicate viral TikTok clips, and, well, let's just say for a studio that has access to how many hundreds of millions of dollars, and the best that you can do is this, I heard this to begin with, and I just about died laughing because, wow, the studio put this out, huh?
What if you could see the future?
Come on, let's go.
What if you had the power to change it?
It continues to go on, but they used, I don't know, whatever the chick version of Microsoft Sam is, like, you used text-to-speech in your official promotional material? What the hell is wrong with you guys? Like, come on, man. And then this. It's like, I don't even know what to say about that. Like, what, is she trying to reach out in order to tap into the web? Is she trying to tell you to stop, I've seen the future, and to know you don't want to come see this film? Why does she not look natural, like her expression in that one? Obviously, yeah, we had the meme pictures from beforehand, okay? There you have her blank expression, but this one's just a little bit different. But her face also looks a little bit different as well. Did they not even bother to ask Dakota, hey, go ahead and put on the track jacket one more time, we just need to have a different picture? That looks like a different person. Like, they got her stunt double to come in, like, what are we doing? And then, yes, Sydney Sweeney talking about how she actually liked, you know, she liked the character and wanted to accurately represent it. And it's like, oh, you poor, sweet summer child. You broke the cardinal rule. You did research and you wanted to respect the character that they were bringing onto the screen. When will you learn? Probably with your next project. But yeah, Dakota Johnson going on SNL, which, funny, Sydney Sweeney just got booked to be on SNL. It'll be funny if she makes mention of Madam Web even once during her performance. Probably going to be about the raunchy rom-com that she was a part of that became... I seen this headline on Twitter, and it was, what is it? All Good Things? I think it was All Good Things, whatever it is, okay? The one that she has out there that's not Madam Web. It became the highest grossing Shakespeare adaptation because it's loosely based on Much Ado About Nothing. Like, what? So I guess she has something to tout and a reason to be down there. Well, she has two good reasons to go down there. And quite frankly, you know, SNL does need the help in the ratings department. But when Dakota Johnson was down there prior to the release of Madame Web, he was hawking it because it has Sydney Sweeney. It's kind of like if AI generated your boyfriend's perfect movie. What does that even mean? It's like, wow, using the justification that you get to look at women. It's like, yeah, she doesn't get her tits out. Her tits are all over the internet. What's the point of going to watch her when she's going to be dressed in horn-rimmed glasses and a potato sack? Yeah, I don't really think that's anybody. Well, unless, of course, your name is Steve and you're looking for your boyfriend's favorite AI-generated film. Doesn't really check out. But, yo, just take a look, okay? Like, they spent all of this money on marketing, and they have these alternative posters. And the best that they could do and what they wanted to run with because, oh, it's got famous in air quotes, you know, actress on the front of it. We can't run with any of these. Really cool? For this 4XD one, I'm not really feeling it. It's more or less like that just has too much of a Spy Kids inspiration for me to really like it. But the eye one's pretty cool. It's like there's at least different art styles that play right here. But all of the stuff that we're watching, cost money. Putting these chicks out on the promotional tour, her having to explain a meme to an idiot at HuffPo, her also having to, you know, Weather and Entertainment Tonight interview. It's like, oh my god, there's an earthquake going on right now, and that's far more interesting than any questions that you've asked me before. But who would have thought? And how expensive would the Madam Copter be? Okay, the one helicopter that runs specifically on webs being constructed in India. Like, I don't even know what the box office is coming out of India, but it won't even come close to recouping any of the cost of this ultimately. Sony built a goddamn helicopter for this freaking movie. How is that? If you're trying to target women, How does a helicopter work out for it? Like, that makes no sense at all whatsoever. And then, oh my god, like, we got more corporate memes. If your cringeometer hasn't completely redlined yet, listen to this one.
You don't think this is weird?
It's honestly like the least weird thing that's happened all day.
I don't even get that. It's like, if you're single on Valentine's Day, it's like the least weird thing to happen today. Boom, TikTok. Fucking what? Like, what are you doing? And then also putting, you know, fake, wannabe fake MySpace pages that are up there for Cassie Webb, and then from the madam herself, her top friends and friend requests at the bottom, posted on Insta. It's like, what are you doing? You're wasting all of this time. Her, you know, not knowing any of the Tom Holland Spider-Man movies, you know, trying to make a joke out of that. I'm still of two minds about that. Was she memeing? Was it a setup joke? Did she forget her setup joke? I have no idea. But you could have just went with this. While Dakota Johnson was unwilling to embrace the meme on this one, you had Isabella Merced, who was the Hispanic, obviously, right? Hispanic Arachnida, or I have no idea who the hell her character is supposed to be. You have three variations of the same character that you don't even, you know, give powers to by the end of the film. But yeah, Spider-Girl posts a Madam Web themed Valentine's that pokes fun at the researching spiders line on her Instagram story. And see, this is funny, right? Our roses are red, our fates are tied. He was in the Amazon with my mom researching spiders right before she died. If you would just let the actresses go out there and market and curate their own social media, you could have saved a bunch of money on your marketing. But no. You just decided to buy corporate memes and buy endorsements from idiots. But we'll get to that. Dakota Johnson reveals she hasn't seen Madam Web yet and doesn't know if she will. Talked about that beforehand. But yeah, this is what you end up buying. You get shaved head Raven Simone, who, when she's not belly aching on, isn't she on The View, or sometimes part-time host on The View? No. You had to get her to have period accurate video, handheld video games in the PSP, for Christ's sakes. And for some eagle-eared, that's not even a proper term, but just go with me on this one. For some true TM gamers that are out there, you're going to hear these sound effects and go, none of those came out of a PSP. Okay, when I was playing Crisis Core, I don't remember hearing Mario coin sounds.
Hi, John from the Madam Web marketing team. And yes, I would love to make a video for you.
How do you even get across that much information in a very small period of time? You didn't even have a heads up with your caller ID. It said spam request, and you already had this line prepared for whoever was going to call you next. It's like, okay, it's supposed to be, you know, tongue-in-cheek. It's supposed to be a big old joke, but like, what the blue hell?
Whoa. How did you know I was calling you to ask you that?
Because I can gaze into the future.
What was with the canned laughter? All of this stuff is just making me question life. Not so much where Sony's spending the money, because, okay, like Raven Simone has that much going for her in today's day and age. She couldn't have been that costly. But any amount of money, $20 spent on that is $20 that was never recouped. Who's that bringing in? You bring in a, F-list celebrity and post it on your own official Instagram account. Like it says right there, it's on the Madam Web page. Posted on Instagram and TikTok. I bet it got hundreds of views. Fantastic. Then just a couple of more things, okay? When you have Madam Web director SJ Clarkson explains why she didn't really have the Spider-Women in the movie at all, because she felt like it was too greedy to try and tell origin stories for 4 heroes. And then you also had, I think it was, you know, Isabella Mercedes once again coming out saying that, oh yeah, it was so great that you did get origin stories for these characters. Like, anybody talking to one another? Or is this what you get when it's, you know, made by women for women, you have women talking about it? Anyways. And you're trying to make me not be misogynistic. Anyways, last but not least, Chinese Madame Web, a Web Pepsi promo. And yeah, for anybody who was unfortunate enough, or if you've caught a couple of the reviews about Madam Web, you would have heard about the heavy Pepsi product placement, and then also how other Pepsi brand products, including Ocean Spray with their cranberry juice, where it's like, okay, cool, we know the bitches love cranberry juice, under this false pretense that if they drink enough, their pH is going to get balanced. But then at the same time, when you let like a half dozen guys on the weekend, you know, shoot up the club. I don't really know if you're solving a problem by putting a metaphorical, you know, bandage on a gunshot wound. There's probably some other things that you can do. But yeah, no, just go ahead and drink the cranberry juice. It'll just, you know, flush out your system, right? Or in the late stage game on this one where, you know, Shazam 2 had specific Skittles tie-ins. Crazy as that was. And then you have Madam Web so heavily product placement laden with Pepsi. Are we at a point where we're starting to see, and I think we're going to get there. I've got a couple of other videos in the can coming very shortly as well, pointing this out, where these studios already know that their films are going to recoup as much money as they're spending on it. So now they're being proactive about recouping as many losses as they can by taking these outside sponsorships. Are we moving? Are we moving to a point in time? Because we see it every once in a while. I was at my parents' place and they had the television on at the time, and I think it was, might have been like NCIS or something that old people watch, okay? Right after they come back from a commercial break, they had a picture-in-picture with an ad. We get into a point in time where we're going to be seeing that with movies? Because we're already moving to that. We're moving back to the cable television model for streaming, where you just have to endure advertisements in something that you pay for. Are we moving in that direction with movies as well? Thank God. Thank God I checked out when I did. And now I can just talk about this stuff over the top and laugh about it with all of you guys, because that is far more enjoyable than simply like some round-headed idiots out there just want to celebrate film. No, we want to call out the bad stuff, so the bad stuff eventually stops. It's just unfortunately not going to happen in the very near future. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.